So we are the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and we teach conservation education programs. So again, thank you for coming. Tonight we're going to talk about front yard fishing. This is based off the backyard bass kit, and this is something that we started about a year ago, right when all of our programs went virtual. For the last year, we've all done these virtual webinars, and kind of exciting for me was to be able to still give you fishing opportunities. So your camera is off, you're automatically muted. If you do have questions, please use the Q&A tab or the chat box. We'll make sure that the chat box is open for you to be able to message us. And we do record it, so you will be able to find this on our Nevada Department of Wildlife YouTube channel under the playlist webinars. So if you want to partake with us today, go ahead and grab yourself a pair of scissors so that you can cut down a box or some cardboard, some markers to color your fish, and what is recommended is a bobber or even just a swivel will be enough for you to be able to catch one of the fish that we make tonight. So this is for you to be able to teach friends, family to fish. So here's an example of my son casting out in the front yard. And for an example, if you can use the chat box, if you can't, go ahead and raise your hand again. What we do at the bottom, you should have a chat box or a Q&A tab. They should both be open. Nicole Haddad Hamlin is moderating for us tonight, so she'll be able to holler out if there are any questions. And so here's an example of some of the fish that the kids made, and it's just painted cardboard, and they practiced with their spinning rods or their spin casts, depending on how long it's been since they cast out, and they just use small bobbers. And you can even store your fish on your fishing reel. So let's go ahead and build our kit. So there's a perfect example up top of a fish, a marker and scissors, a box, and then on the right is a spinning reel with plastic on it. It looks just like a plastic worm or a small fish. Sometimes they're called creature baits too. So the swim baits are really good as long as you don't push the hook all the way through, which normally when you're bass fishing, you don't, especially if you do set it up like a Texas rig. And that way you don't have to worry about it snagging on anything. It'll come right through the brush if you're out in the yard. So go ahead, we'll go full screen, Nicole. We'll go and stop sharing, and I can show you what I'm working on here. I came out front so I could have more room to show you the fishing rods and everything. And if you want, let us know. And I can cast into the yard. I don't know how well it'll show up. So we do have some videos to show as well. So I did make a fish right before we started. And how I made the fish was I just took one of my boxes and I cut down one of the sides. So you can see it's about maybe 6 inches wide and then maybe 10 inches long. And I just cut it right down the middle. I highly recommend doing that for the kids, get them started. It makes it a lot easier. Or for you, if this is a project for you, highly recommend it. It's pretty fun. And then my example fish, show you some of my examples. And these are my fly fishing fish. That's why they have little stickers on them. But there is a red-eared, sorry, thinking of other classes, red-eared sunfish. So that was my inspiration. So all I did was took this other half of the box, cut out the top, cut out 2 fins, and I did draw it with a pencil. So I drew it out and then cut into it. And also I barely cut the middle out. I do recommend cutting it so it is separated a little bit. You can barely see through there, but that way the fishing line does go all the way up. You want the fishing line to go up here so that when you catch the fish, it catches in the middle here. And then, so we have 2 dorsal fins, we have a pelvic fin and a, pelvic fin and abdominal fin. And then we have our tail fins here. The fish do have a nasal cavity here, and then a nice happy fish with a smile. And then some horizontal rays, just like our red ear sunfish does. There's my inspiration for this guy. More like a bluegill. But I do have the bluegill out on a fish right now that we made last time. So we'll go ahead and actually show you some more videos. And as you're watching them, if you do it side by side, you do have the option of having the PowerPoint on one side and then picture on the other. It's always good.
All right, so you can fish anywhere you want. You just need a rod, reel, and some sort of bobber, lure, anything. Just definitely don't recommend hooks in the front yard. And then an example is the backyard bass game here, and you can make your own fish. So we just took shipping boxes from our delivered items, painted them, gave them a craft project, and made little fish. So you can do them realistic too and have them actually look like bluegill or bass, whatever you want. So we just took our cutout and then put a fish on the back.
You're muted, Abby.
Didn't want to have the noise over that. Thank you. So the casting plugs in the next slide's example are weighted. And the reason that you can get them anywhere is because people actually use them for their bait casters. So those big, hard to deal with bass reels, when you get those casting plugs and they're weighted, that's a 1/4 ounce weight. The benefit of that is to actually set the magnets for your bait caster. So you can always grab those, but then also in youth starter kits, especially if this is a brand new child or brand new friend, even the Striper Club, our local chapter Striper Club, does a Barbie Pole Classic, and any of those kits will come with the little starter fish there. And they're just called casting plugs in all those kits, and they actually have some even neat ones that look like umbrella rigs and stuff. So any of those will work really good for this in the front yard or park or wherever you want to go, but just definitely want to encourage, you don't have to go anywhere to go fishing. So there it is. Right. And this is all based off the backyard bass game that we've used for field trips. We've loaned these out to rec centers, anything to get the kids interested and just to practice that hand-eye coordination too. It's really neat. We love taking these out to fairs and special events like that. So you can get one too. They have them on many online stores. All right, so yeah, 25 seconds. Yeah, we'll play this one.
So you can make your fish any which way you want. We just took a shipping box here and taped or glued bluegill right to the top of it. And then now we have a fish game. You can have it flipped over so that you can actually get, you know, have it be a surprise. So
So normally what we do, and I think I showed in the next video, is that underneath the orange fish, or actually I think it's the yellow fish, we actually tape each species. So we'll have multiple species, including an invasive species. So here's a carp. And underneath each fish is another fish. So it just creates like a guessing game and a fish ID also. So it can be a biology project too. All right. Thank you.
all right, so for backyard bass, there are these fish, and this is the literal name of the kit. And you get these plastic fish, and they have a little cut in the top, and that way you can put your lure or swivel, which is this little guy right here, and you can literally hang it right into the fish. So that is the goal. And then when you pick it up, you can actually put a sticker on the back of these. So what we do for our virtual or field trips or loaner kits is we cut out these fish made by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and put them out, and then that way the kids have to identify a fish. So you can do this anywhere. We're in our front yard, so I'm going to turn around here, and we're going to have her cast out. So when we're teaching fishing, the easiest reel is going to be this spin cast, or sometimes people call them closed faced, and that just means that the line is inside here. And all a new angler, fisherman, fisherwoman has to worry about is pushing this one little button and holding it down, because when you let go, it releases your line. All right, so we'll zoom back here. We're going to press and hold the button with whatever dominant hand. We're going to go back up over our shoulder. That way we don't hit our neighbors. And we're going to pull back and make sure that we don't tangle up. And as we throw forward, we're going to release that thumb forward. So you let go and you reel, and as you're reeling in, stay back. There are sometimes obstacles, but we just pull it right on off. Make sure we give room. Yep, just like when we get caught on a rock in the pond.
All right, so yeah, the benefit of that is teaching kids how to get untangled, and especially even me, when I started fishing out at Lake Mead, there are tons and tons of rocks, there's drop-offs, so you're always getting caught on something when you're casting out there. And if you get a bite, sometimes they're really good at tangling it up in some brush, the fish that you're catching and going after. So what's really neat is I was telling her to stay back because her instinct was to go to it to untangle it. But if you just pull straight back, you can actually get yourself untangled almost all the time. So, you know, we've done so many school groups in the spring. We do virtual, or we do regular field trips. Hopefully we'll do some virtual field trips too this spring, or even in person ones. We'll see how it all goes. And when we take the kids out, like as they're reeling in, sometimes they get stuck. So we just teach them to pull straight back, giving themselves room for that hook to come back. And usually we're just using an itty bitty hook anyways. And that way, if it does come back at them, it's going to hit low and usually hits the ground. So lots of lessons that you can teach at home.
All right, so we're gonna fish with our spin cast. We're gonna press and hold that button down, cast over our shoulder, and we're gonna use a bobber. And when we go forward, right, we give ourselves a thumbs up and release that button. And when you're in the front yard, We don't have to cast too far, and then we're going to reel in slowly, pointing at our fish, just like bass fishing, and catch one of the fish we made. There we go. And the trick is to make sure you cut it up far enough so that it dangles, and then you can see that the bobber's right in there. And that works pretty good. It's not too heavy. You can see the lines. It's heavy enough to give them some action, but it's not too heavy that it'll actually weigh down and bend the rod.
I caught my first fish.
Caught her first big bluegill.
All right, yeah, thanks, Jeff. It is a cool trick. We found out the hard way. We tested it a few different ways and trying not to totally, cut into the fish too much. We tried to only cut like halfway up, but then it doesn't really hook and it kind of just flops around. But if you cut it further up, it actually holds it up better. Definitely learned how to do it. So again, you can do this with any of the fishing rods. So say you need practice with your spinning rod, take that out and put a creature on it. You can use any kind of lure plastic. And honestly, some of the swivels are sharp enough. You could just put it right into your worm or plastic and not even have to worry about a hook at all. But yeah, here's my contact information. Please let us know if you have any questions at all. And it is busy out there. The weather's been amazing in the southern region. It's not been too bad up north either. So responsible recreation and while you're embracing the outdoors. There is a survey on the way out, so please fill that out. Let us know how we did. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you are watching and want me to do a rig, let me know. I can tie one up too. And yeah, if you had any questions, I saw the hand go up earlier. Let us know. Raise your hand again if that's easier. Have you ask a question. But this is just a quick little something to get your mind thinking how to cast at home, practice at home. The grass, any grass, if you have front or backyard or something that's easy to clean, you can practice with your fly rod. I did bring that out and actually show you that real quick. There we go. All right, so what I'm trying to show you is on the end, on my, on the, drawing a blank, on the end of the line, in the leader or whatever, I just put the sticky, if you want it bigger, you can move the window to the side. So it's just the Velcro and I just doubled it. I did use 2 pieces of Velcro and that way the line's in between there. And then this will stick to a laminated fish. So there's a carp and then it just sticks right to it. So when you're practicing and out front, you put these little guys in the grass or driveway, whatever works for you. And then you can practice your stripping. So, do your regular cast and then practice your stripping and drag it across and then you catch a fish. Those are pretty fun too. Lots of options. We'll do another intro to fly fishing and show that as well. And then we'll do some more bass stuff too as it warms up. And hopefully we'll be doing some more in-person classes as well. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to email us, send a chat, and then we'll say goodbye for now. But thank you all for coming and supporting our conservation education programs.